Okay, let's get into it. For today's deep dive, we're tackling something, well, short but incredibly dense. It's the lyrics to the song Couch Critic by Alison McLean. And just to be clear, we're not really looking at the music itself today. We're treating these lyrics as a really focused piece of social commentary. Our mission, basically, is to unpack the worldview packed into this very tight, repetitive structure. What exactly is McLean getting at here about maybe modern paralysis?
Yeah, and what strikes you right away is the style. It's not subtle. He uses really strong emotional words and this heavy repetition. It's like
Yeah.
it's designed to uh, burrow into your brain, and you get this immediate clash right from the start. There's this intense feeling of crisis, society falling apart maybe,
Hmm.
but then alongside it, this deep, almost chosen inaction, passivity. The tension is there from line one.
Totally. So let's start where the song starts with the verse. It paints this picture of crisis, of being, well, hemmed in. The language feels really specific, almost spatial, like you're physically trapped.
That line, "You have us backed in a corner."
Yeah.
That's such a classic way to start this kind of commentary, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's immediately confrontational because it's not just, oh, things are bad. It's someone specific, some force put us here. It suggests this isn't an accident. It's a deliberate loss of power, maybe political, maybe economic.
And it feels like total constraint, not just, a bit tight. That feeling gets hammered home by the next bit, with no light to share.
Ah,
It feels like it's taking away even the possibility of finding a way out together. If you're cornered, you need some shared idea, some light, right? But here, there's just nothing. No collective hope, maybe not even the basic ability to think of a solution.
it really speaks to this deep, deep exhaustion, I think. And what's really interesting is how McLean scales it immediately.
Mm.
It's not just like local issues or personal money problems. The lyrics explicitly say down and out as a country,
Right?
and then connect it straight to as a community in despair.
Ah, okay. So the idea is that these big national problems aren't just abstract news headlines. They're directly causing real, tangible misery right down at the neighborhood level.
Exactly. The big system failing translates directly into how people feel together in their community. It's national and personal despair linked. And you, the listener, you have to hear this message of hopelessness 3 times. That verse repeats, driving home that this isn't just a bad mood. It's the ongoing reality. The repetition makes the entrapment feel permanent.
Yeah, it does. It almost creates this feeling that the corner is just where you live now. But then the song pivots, right? It shifts from describing the pain to analyzing the response or lack of it. And that brings us right to the core image, the title. The couch critic has spoken.
That's the absolute key image, isn't it? The title, the hook, it conjures up this idea instantly. The armchair expert, the analysis is out there. The problems have been pointed out, probably with a lot of certainty. But where's it coming from? Somewhere comfortable, somewhere detached. The couch.
It feels like such a timely comment on, well, how we talk about things now. Maybe social media, endless online takes, where diagnosing the issue is easy, but actually doing something is hard. The critic sees the corner, describes the corner, but hasn't actually moved from the sofa.
Exactly. And that setup makes the very next line hit so hard. The couch critic has spoken, yet we are not to be woken.
Mm-hmm.
That yet is doing so much work. It suggests the critique, the speaking, it just bounces off. It's ineffective. Or maybe, even worse, that we, the subjects of the critique, are actively choosing to ignore it.
But hang on. Isn't identifying the problem, even from the couch, like the first step you have to take? Are the lyrics maybe being a bit too harsh here? Maybe the critic is right, but people are just too worn out or stuck to act.
Well, I think the power is right there in that ambiguity, that tension. It's probably not saying the critique is wrong, but the condition the community is in just makes it pointless. Inertia isn't just happening. The phrase not to be woken implies it's deliberate, like a choice is being made, a refusal to start the difficult process of changing, even when someone's pointed out the danger. So you get the words, the analysis, but behavior doesn't shift. It's like nodding along without getting up.
Okay, so if we know we're cornered, and the couch critic has helpfully pointed this out, why choose to stay asleep? The lyrics actually seem to give us a reason for this inertia. It's in the next line. For the story we keep on serving.
Ah, yes. This is, I think, the absolute core of the psychological insight here. The story. It's not necessarily false, but it's a narrative, isn't it? Like a set of familiar excuses, maybe comfortable habits, beliefs we don't question. And this story lets the community stay passive without, feeling too bad about it. It's just easier to stick with the story than to do the really hard, maybe painful work of getting out of the corner. That story becomes its own kind of trap.
So it's suggesting the real blockage isn't just the external force that pushed us into the corner, it's internal too. We're actively, maybe unconsciously, feeding ourselves a narrative that justifies staying put, even when the alarm bells are ringing.
Exactly. And if you don't challenge that internal story, well, the lyrics are pretty clear about what happens next. They spell out the consequence.
Which leads us to those final, really stark lines in the hook. They're even separated on the page for impact, right? Reality, life keeps on returning.
Yes, we really need to look at that punctuation. Separating reality and life like that, it's a deliberate move. It's not just reality returns. It's both. Almost like they're distinct, but inevitably linked in this cycle.
What do you think that separation implies, emotionally? Is reality the big, harsh truth, the corner, the lack of light? And maybe life is just the day-to-day grind, the stuff that keeps us busy, distracted from the bigger reality.
I think that's a really good way to put it. The emotional weight is key. Reality is that brutal condition described in the verse.
Yeah.
Trapped. Hopeless. Life could be the ongoing, just trying to get by. The daily struggles, the small disappointments, the routine. McLean separates them, maybe to emphasize that both things, the huge political state and the intimate daily struggle, are the direct result of serving that comfortable internal story. Because the narrative doesn't change, the harshness just comes back around. The crisis returns, the difficult life continues. It's guaranteed.
Right. So basically, failing to change the story inside means the outside situation just resets to the same awful baseline. The cycle is laid bare. Despair hits. Verse, critique is offered, couch critic. But we stay asleep by telling the old story. So the despair, the reality, life comes right back.
And this isn't just a theme she's talking about. It's literally built into the song's structure, the whole thing. Verse, then instrumental, then verse again, then the hook, instrumental, hook, another verse, another hook. It just keeps cycling back. The song itself is trapped in the very loop it's describing. It mirrors the content perfectly.
It's like the form is the argument. There's no escape hatch offered in the lyrics. It just keeps circling back to that initial state of crisis. And the ending, It doesn't really resolve anything, does it? Just stops fading out on the hook.
Exactly. The way it fades out on "The couch critic has spoken, yet we are not to be woken." That feels very intentional. There's no final resolving chord, no hint that things might change. It's just this quiet acknowledgement that the cycle continues, the inertia persists. The crisis doesn't end just because the song does. It's still out there.
Wow, okay, so summing this up, McLean's lyrics paint this picture of collective failure really sharply. You have this community facing despair that's both huge, national level, and felt really personally. The analysis, the critique, it's there, someone's speaking it. But the core problem seems to be this deliberate inertia, this refusal to wake up, which is propped up by clinging to a familiar, maybe self-soothing story. And that ensures the harshness, the reality, life just keeps cycling back.
Which leaves us, and you listening, with a pretty unsettling final thought, drawn straight from this source material. If the couch critic has spoken, but we are choosing actively not to be woken because we're so caught up in the story we keep on serving, does that act of criticism itself, maybe, especially criticism delivered from a place of comfort, the couch just become another part of the story? Does it become paradoxically another gear in the mechanism that keeps us from actually waking up and changing things? Is the critique itself just feeding the cycle?